Good morning. It is 6:55 a.m. Holy crap, really? On Friday, March 24th, 2017. I'm Christiana Ellison. I've been screwing around, wasting time on unnecessary things this morning. This is 5 more minutes. So, yeah, just kind of not moving very quickly and realizing now that, oh, it's later than I thought. I gotta get moving. I feel like there's a couple of different things that I sort of have idle thoughts about. We'll see how many of them last. One is that I I've read online that apparently the Naruto anime has finally come to an end. And my understanding actually is this is technically the second series. This is Naruto Shippuden, which is like a second sequel series to the original Naruto anime, but continuing the same story about the same characters. And so I guess it's finally come to an end, and I have I'm having feelings about that in a way that I wouldn't have expected. Hello, Luna in the background. Um, I was never super into Naruto, but in the Adult Swim days of the early aughts, I remember being pretty into Naruto for a while, watching it from the beginning on Adult Swim, Cartoon Network's Adult Swim. I watched it for a while, and really enjoyed it. And I think that I eventually slipped away from it during what true fans would have probably told me is one of the filler arcs. I don't know that for fact, but I do know that while the show was periodically very good and very entertaining, it would occasionally slip into stretches of episodes that are not as entertaining. And I eventually gave it up for that reason. But I know it just kept going and going and going, and I had always without really thinking about it very much, I'm finding now that I must have just kept the characters in a nice little sealed Tupperware in my brain somewhere, because reading now that it's like reached its conclusion, which of course doesn't mean that it wouldn't get resurrected as another sequel series somehow, but the idea of it reaching its conclusion gives me some weird feelings of nostalgia, even though I haven't been following it all along. So it's like what I imagine of the characters is like their version of themselves from midpoint of the first series. And so who even knows what's happened to them in the meantime? I suppose I could watch it and find out. But boy, that's a lot of episodes of anime. Um, but yeah, at the same time, I do still have a little bit of a feeling of mourning somehow. Like, not, let's keep that in context when I use that word. But I guess what I just mean is there was a part of me that kind of liked having it out there. I had fond memories of the parts that boy, my voice is going bad. I'm not choked up. This is just like mucus in my throat or something. Despite the fact that I'm talking about that weird sense, it's just, it's an example, I think, of how you can have things that you don't actually pay conscious attention to, but you use as a little touchstone in your life of how you check in with the state of the world. And it's kind of like, oh, the Naruto anime is just one of those little things. It's just like that fence post that you walk by every day, and then OCD, like you touch a fence post or something. And you just kind of like, you don't really care about the fence posts specifically. It's just familiar. It's there. You see it all the time. And if it were to change, you might have a feeling of loss, even though it's just a fence post. And so this feels a little bit like that for me, where like I wasn't watching it. Um, it's just a show. I don't, at least by the preliminary stuff that I've read about it, it seems like the fans that were watching all along liked the ending, so that's good. Um, And yeah, so it's just an interesting observation of my own feelings to realize that I kind of liked the idea that that anime was kind of still trucking along out there. Those characters, I just remember a little spiky-haired blonde guy with weird whiskers on his cheeks saying, "Believe it." So anyway, I guess it's come to a conclusion. But as is with the often the case with anime and with comic books and manga in general, the characters might be back. So who knows? Maybe they're just a week away from announcing the next Naruto series, and I can go back to touching the fence post as I walk by. Well, or not. Time will tell. But in any case, I've got to get ready for work because it's later than I meant it to be. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes.